find the value of A25 minus A15 for the arithmetic progression. The first 4 terms of the progression are given to us, 6, 9, 12, 15. Step 1, what we'll do is, let's compute the common difference of this arithmetic progression. We know the first few terms, so we can find out the common difference. Common difference is equal to the difference between any two consecutive terms. A2 minus A1 in this case will suffice. So 9 minus 6 is equal to 3. So common difference of this arithmetic progression is the 3. What do we have to find out? We need to find out A25 minus A15. What formula are we going to be using? We're going to be using the formula to compute the nth term of an arithmetic progression. Nth term, an, is equal to the first term a plus n minus 1 times the common difference is the formula to find out the nth term. Let's write A25 and A15 in terms of the first term and this common difference. So the 25th term, A25, will be equal to a plus 25 minus 1 times the common difference. Let's write the common difference right now as the d. And in the last step, let's plug in the value of d to be equal to 3. So we'll continue with the d till we come to the last step. So this is equal to a plus 24d. So A25 is a plus 24d, known to us even if we did not write this step. A15 correspondingly will be equal to a plus 15 minus 1 times the common difference, which is a plus 14d. So got A25 and A15. What we need to find out is the value of A25 minus A15, which actually is going to therefore be equal to a plus 24d. From this, we are going to subtract a plus 14d. What will you get? A gets cancelled with a. 24d minus 14d is equal to 10d. So the value of A25 minus A15 is equal to 10d. In the last slide, we computed the value of d to be equal to 3. Let's plug that in here. So 10 times 3, 30 is the difference between the 25th and the 15th term. A25 minus A15 equals 30. Very easy question. Certainly should be able to get 2 marks for this. Move on to the second part, which is the internal choice. This is an interesting one actually. If 7 times the 7th term of the AP is equal to 5 times the 5th term of the AP, then find the value of the 12th term. Right? First step, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write the formula to find out the nth term as always and find out what are we trying to find out. We're trying to find out the 12th term. Let's just get started with that. So an is equal to a plus n minus 1 times the common difference. A is the first term, n is a number of terms we are talking about, d is the common difference. So A12, if we have to find out, that is going to be equal to a plus 12 minus 1 times d, which is equal to a plus 11d. We are trying to find out the value of this. If we can get the value of a plus 11d, we have found out what we are trying to find out. Let's now make sense out of the statement. 7 times the 7th term, 7 times the 7th term is equal to 5 times the 5th term. A7 is the 7th term, A5 is the 5th term. So 7 times the 7th term is equal to 5 times, this is 5, right? This doesn't look like a 5, we'll write it. It is 5 times the 5th term. What you're going to do as next step, so you're going to write this A7 in terms of this format, A5 in terms of this format. Let's get done with that. So 7 times A7 is a plus 7 minus 1, which is equal to 6d, is equal to 5 times a plus 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4d. Let's solve this equation in the next slide. Expand this. This is 7a plus 42d. 7a plus 42d is equal to 5a plus 20d. 5a plus 20d. Take all terms to one side. 7a minus 5a is equal to 2a. 42d this is. 42d minus 20d is equal to 22d. This is equal to 0. When all terms have come to the left hand side, the right hand side is obviously a 0. Divide this entire equation by a 2, you'll get a plus 11d is equal to 0. What did we have to find out? We had to find out the value of the 12th term. 12th term a12 we know is equal to a plus 11d. That is equal to 0. So 12th term of this arithmetic progression is equal to a 0. Find the value of m so that the quadratic equation mx times 5x minus 6 plus a 9 equals 0 has 2 equal roots. What's the condition for equal roots? The quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equals 0. Then if the discriminant is equal to 0, then it will have 2 equal roots. Discriminant of a quadratic equation is given by b square minus 4ac equals 0. So let's write this quadratic equation to resemble the ax square plus bx plus c format. So we have mx times 5x, which is going to make it as 5mx square, mx into minus 6, which is minus 6mx, plus a 9 equals 0. This is a quadratic equation. So what's A in this equation? A is equal to f5m. What is B in this equation? Which is minus 6m. And what is C in this equation? C is equal to 9. So the discriminant therefore is going to be equal to B square minus 6m the whole square minus 4ac 4 into 5m into 9 is equal to 0. So this part is equal to 36m square minus, what I'll do is 49m, I'll write all of them together, minus 36m into a 5. So I'm just rewriting it as 4 into 9, 36 into m, 36m into 5. This is equal to 0. Realize that 36m is a term common to both these parts. So let's take 36m common outside. We take 36m common outside. There's going to be an m left in the first term and there's going to be a 5 left in the second term. So m minus 5 is equal to 0. So product of two parts is 0 when at least one of these two parts is 0. 36m equals 0 translates to m is equal to 0. M minus 5 could be 0. In that case, m is equal to 5. Look at what happens when m is equal to 0. M is equal to 0. The entire x terms vanish, which means we don't have a quadratic equation at all. So m is equal to 0 is not a possibility. M is equal to 5 is the answer to this question, right? So question number 2 is done. So for what values of m will you have equal roots? We'll have equal roots when m is equal to 5. From a point P, two tangents are drawn, right? This is point P to a circle. We are able to draw two tangents. We said these two tangents are called A and B, PA, PB. So AB are the points where these two tangents meet the circle. Center of the circle is at O and the radius of the circle is equal to R. So this is given as R. So OA equals OB is equal to R. OP is equal to 2R. The point from where the tangent is drawn to the center of the circle, the length is equal to 2R. What is the measure of angle APB? That's the first question. What kind of a triangle is APB, right? This triangle, what kind of a triangle is it? Step 1, let's first draw this diagram again in a printed form. Understand some basics, establish some things, and then find out the angle APB, right? So given triangle, given circle, from a point P, we are drawn two tangents. The distance between the tangent point where the tangent is drawn to the center of the circle is 2R. Radius of the circle is R, so which is also equal to OB, which is equal to R. You have to find out the measure of this angle, angle APB. Subsequently, we also need to find out what kind of a triangle is APB. We'll come to that after finding this angle. It's necessary that we know the angle to be able to determine what kind of a triangle it is. So let's establish a few things. First, we know that PA is a tangent. PB is also a tangent, so both of these are tangents, and OA is radius, so is OB. OB is also radius. OB is radius. Therefore, few things we will establish. PA is perpendicular to OA and PB is perpendicular to OB. The radius and tangent are perpendicular to each other. So this is equal to 90 degrees, so is this equal to 90 degrees. So establish this is the first thing we have established. The second thing we are going to be establishing is the fact that by RHS, right, by RHS rule, right angle, hypotenuse and side. Look at it, we know the triangle OAP and OBP are both right angle triangles. OAP and OBP are right angle triangles. The side opposite to the 90 degrees is the hypotenuse, which is OP, which is common to both. And one of the perpendicular sides is OA in one triangle and OB in another triangle, which measures R. So by RHS, we established that these two triangles are congruent triangles. So first we established that these two angles are 90 degrees. Subsequently, we established that these two triangles are congruent triangles. So we established that these two triangles are congruent triangles. By corresponding parts of congruent triangle, we can say that angle APO is equal to angle BPO. So if we can call this angle to be equal to theta, this will also be equal to theta. So what are we trying to find out? We are trying to find out angle APB, which is equal to 2 theta. Now quickly let's take this information and see what we have. So we know that this angle is equal to theta. We know this is a right triangle. So we'll find out angle theta. To angle theta, look at it. This side OA in right triangle is the opposite side. And we know OP is opposite to 90 degrees, so that is the hypotenuse. So we know in terms of the radius, the lengths of the opposite side and the hypotenuse. So which trigonometric ratio will we be using? we'll be using sine. So sine of angle theta is equal to the opposite side OA divided by the hypotenuse, which is equal to OP. So this is equal to r by 2r, which is equal to 1 by 2. Sin theta is equal to 1 by 2, which means that theta is equal to 30 degrees. Theta is equal to 30 degrees. We have already established that this is also equal to theta, which is equal to 30 degrees. So angle APB is equal to 30 degrees plus 30 degrees, which is equal to 60 degrees. Right. So we have found out angle APB. That's part 1. That's done. Part 2, we'll have to find out what kind of a triangle is APB. We found this angle to be equal to 60 degrees. Now, we established these two triangles, right? Triangle OAP and triangle OBP to be congruent triangles, which means PA is equal to PB. We otherwise also know that from an external point, we'll be able to draw two tangents. Both these tangents are equal in length. Because PA is equal to PB, it's evident that angle PAB is equal to angle PBA, right? Both these angles are equal. So we'll call this angle to be equal to an alpha. We'll say this is equal to alpha. So in triangle PAB, the measure of the three angles are basically 60 plus alpha plus alpha. Sum of these three angles will be equal to 180 degrees. So 2 alpha is equal to 120 degrees, implies alpha is equal to 60 degrees. So alpha is 60, this alpha is also equal to 60. So look at the three angles in PAB, all three angles are 60 degrees, which means the triangle PAB is an equilateral triangle. So two things we needed to find out. The first one is angle PAB, as angle APB, which is equal to 60 degrees. Second one, what kind of a triangle it is? It's an equilateral triangle. The curved surface area of a right circular cone is 12,320 centimeters square. CSA is given for a cone. If the base radius is 56 centimeters, find its height is what the question is. Let's start by writing down what is the formula to compute the curved surface area of a cone. The curved surface area of a cone, the formula is pi RL. R is the base radius, L is not the height as we know, L is the slant height. This is given to be equal to 12,320. The other data that we have is that radius is equal to 56 centimeters. 12,320 centimeters square and 56 centimeters. So step 1, what we are going to be doing is computing the value of L. What is the slant height? So let's plug in the values. Let's take R to be equal to 56 and take pi to be at 22 by 7. 22 by 7 times 56, which is the radius, times the slant height is equal to 12,320. There's only one variable, which is the slant height. Solve for it, solve this, do the calculation, get the value of L. Let's complete it. 7 cancels with 56 to leave us with an 8. So slant height L is equal to 12,320 divided by 22 times 8. 22 cancels with 123 as a 5. So 110 gone, that will leave us with a 13. 13 and a 2 is a 132. That will cancel with this 22 to leave us with a 6, and then there is a 0. So slant height L is equal to 560 by 8, which is equal to this 560 by 8 is equal to 70 centimeters. So step 1, we wanted to find out the slant height, we have found that. Step 2, we are going to be finding out the height. We know that the slant height, and radius essentially form a right triangle. Radius, height of the cone and slant height will form a right angle triangle, where the slant height is a hypotenuse and radius and height are the perpendicular sides. You know, this is equal to 70, we computed in the last step, and this is given in the question as a 56. So all that is left is finding out the value of the height. So height by Pythagoras theorem is equal to square root of L square minus R square, which in our case is going to be equal to 70 square minus 56 square. This is easy to compute. 56 square is going to take a while, not too difficult, but let's make even that calculation easy. Look at the 70. 70 is 14 times 5. What is 56? 56 is 14 times 4. So we're going to be writing both 70 and 56 as multiples of 14. So 70 can be written as 5 times 14 square and 56 can be written as 4 times 14 square. So this 14 square is common to both these terms, can be taken common outside, and when it comes to the square root, it's going to be equal to a 14. So 14 times square root of what is left? A 5 square minus 4 square. This is easy calculation. 25 minus 16 is a 9, square root of 9 is a 3. So the height is equal to 14 times 3, which is equal to 42 centimeters, right? So other than this bit of calculation, this is a very simple straightforward question. Mrs. Garg noted down marks of her students. The modal marks works out to 45 for this class. What we need to compute is that in this data something is missing, and that's a frequency of this particular class. So this frequency is what we need to find out. Let's quickly take this table to the next slide and write down the formula to compute the mode, right? The formula to compute the mode is L plus F1 minus F0 upon 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 times H, right? Just look at what we have in each of these things. First thing is, we know the mode is equal to 45. So in which class does this mode lie? Between 40 and 60. So this happens to be our modal class. Mode, we know the number, that is equal to 45. What is L? L is the lower limit of the modal class, which is equal to a 40. F1 is the frequency of the modal class, which is what we do not know, which is what we are trying to find out. What is F0? F0 is this value, which is the frequency of the class before the modal class, which is equal to 10 for us. What is F2? F2 is the frequency of the class after the modal class, which in this particular question is equal to 6. And H is the height of the modal class, which is equal to 20. So we got all of these data except F1. So plug them in, solve it, we'll get the value of F1. Quickly run through it in the next slide. So mode 45 is equal to the lower limit of the modal class, which is equal to 40, plus F1, which is what we are trying to find out, minus F0, which is equal to 10, divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus 6, which is F2, times the height of this class is equal to 20, right? So quickly, 45 minus 40 is equal to 5. This is equal to F1 minus 5 by 20. We'll get this 20 also down here. 5 by 20 is equal to F1 minus 10 divided by 2F1 minus 16. Cross multiply and solve for this. So this is going to become 1 by 4. So 2F1 minus 16 is equal to 4F1 minus 40. Take the 40 to the left hand side, which will make it as 24, is equal to 4F1 minus 2F1, which is equal to 2F1, or F1 is equal to 12. So the frequency of this class is equal to 12, which is what we are trying to find out, right? Straightforward, if you know the formula and what each of these terms in the formula mean. If Ritu were 5 years, if Ritu were younger by 5 years than what she really is, then the square of her age would have been 11 more than 5 times her present age. What is their percentage? This is what we need to find out. We'll break each of these parts and then make sense out of it. So let's start by assigning a variable for what we need to find out. We need to find out her percentage. So I'm going to assign a variable for her percentage. Let's say that is equal to X years. Present age is X years. When I take the first part, if Ritu were younger by 5 years than what she really is X years. She is 5 years younger. Let's say she's right now 15 years old. If she were 5 years younger, she would have been 10 years old. She is right now X years old. So if she's 5 years younger, then her age would have been X minus 5. She is 15, 5 years younger would have made her 10. She is X, therefore 5 years younger would have made her X minus 5. So if she were 5 years younger than what she is, that component is done. Then the square of her age would have been square of this, square of her age if she were 5 years younger. 5 years younger, her age is X minus 5. Square of that will be X minus 5, the whole square. Then the square of her age would have been 11 more than 5 times her present age. 11 more than 5 times her present age. Her present age is equal to X. 5 times her present age is 5X. 11 more than 5 times her present age is equal to 11 plus 5X. So what is equal to 11 more than 5 times her present age? Square of her age had she been 5 years younger. Square of her age had she been 5 years younger is X minus 5 the whole square. They're saying that is equal to 11 plus 5X. Let's expand this and simplify it. So we'll see a quadratic equation in the process. So this is X square minus 10X plus 25 is equal to 11 plus 5X. Take all terms to one side. So you'll have X square minus 15X, 25 minus 11 is equal to plus 14 is equal to 0. So now we have a typical quadratic equation. It's a factorizable quadratic equation. Let's take it to the next slide. So X square minus 15X plus 14 is equal to 0. Product is plus 14, sum is minus 15. So you can basically split this minus 15 as a minus 14 and a minus 1. So it's going to be X square minus 14X minus X plus 14 is equal to 0. X common from the first and second term, X minus 14, minus 1 common from the third and the fourth term, X minus 14 is equal to 0. So this would translate to x minus 14 times x minus 1 is equal to 0. The product is 0 when at least one of these two terms is 0. So if x minus 14 is 0, x is equal to f14. If x minus 1 is a 0, then x is equal to 1. X equals 1. Then if she were 5 years younger, would have made her age negative. So that's not possible. So x minus 1 is ruled out. Her present age is equal to 14 years. So this is the answer to the question. So this question is a word problem. Essentially making sense out of each of these parts is what makes this question interesting. So get conversant with how to translate what is given in words and sentences into equations, right? So these kinds of problems come every now and then. If you're not comfortable with translating this, right, my suggestion is look at an alternative if it is available. This question had an internal choice. The internal choice would have made sense for people who could not frame the equation. Solve for x given this quadratic equation. Obviously, we don't have numbers here, so factorizing is not going to be possible. So let's go with the quadratic formula. What's the quadratic formula? The quadratic formula is the value of x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. What is given to us? This is the equation. So what is a for us in this equation? A is equal to 9. What is b? B is equal to minus 6p. That's b. What is c? C is equal to p square minus a q square. Plug all of that into this. Simplify it, we'll find the value of x. So minus b is minus of minus 6p plus or minus square root of b square, which is minus 6p the whole square, minus 4 into 9, which is a, into c, which is p square minus q square, divided by 2a, which is 2 times 9 is what we have. So this minus of minus 6p will make it as plus 6p, plus or minus square root of minus 6p the whole square is 36p square, minus 4 into 9 is a minus 36 into p square is a minus 36p square. Minus of minus will make it as plus, so plus 36q square divided by 18 is what we have. 36p square minus 36p square will get cancelled. So we'll take it to the next slide, which will leave us with is 6p plus or minus square root of 36q square, which is nothing but 6q. So 6p plus or minus 6q divided by the denominator is equal to an 18. Take 6 common in the numerator. So 6 times p plus or minus q divided by 18 is the value of x. 6 cancels with an 18 to leave us with a 3. So one value of x is equal to p plus q divided by 3. The second value of x is equal to p minus q divided by 3. This is not very easy, but if you struggle with converting sentences into equations, this probably is a better option to go with, right? 6a, 6b, both had some elements of difficulty in them. So this question to that extent was not as easy as what we have seen with other chapters like arithmetic progression. Following the distribution of long distance competition in which 250 students participated. So total number of students, this count is going to be equal to 250. What we need to find out is the median distance jumped by these 250 students, and we need to interpret what does this median actually mean. Let's get started. Let's just convert this exclusive class table into a cumulative frequency table that is needed to compute the median, right? So converting it into a cumulative frequency. So 0 to 1, how many people are less than 1? That's going to be equal to 40. Less than 2 is all of these people are less than 2. So 40 plus 80 cumulative frequency up till this point is equal to 120. Less than 3 is all of them. So 120 plus 62, which is equal to 182. Less than 4 is 182 plus 38, which is 190, 220. And last, how many people have jumped less than 5? That is equal to 250. This is 220, not 226, right? So this gives us a cumulative frequency table. What is a median? Median is that value in which the n by 2th term, the value of the n by 2th term is the median. 250 is the total number of terms. So n for us, capital N, is equal to 250, which means n upon 2 is going to be equal to 125. The first 120 students have jumped less than 2. The 125 is therefore going to lie in this particular interval. So the median class for us is this. This is the median class. Now let's look at the formula to compute the median. Median is equal to L plus n by 2 minus CF divided by F times H. This is what we have. We look at each of these things. Median is median. L is the lower limit of the median class. So L is equal to 2 for us. N by 2 we have already computed, that's equal to 125. CF is the cumulative frequency of the class before it. So CF for us is equal to 120. F is the frequency of the median class, which is equal to 62. And lastly, the height of each of these classes is equal to 1. So we have all the data, we just need to plug them in and compute the value of the median. And finally, let's interpret and understand what the median essentially means. Right. Plug it in, we'll know the formula median is equal to L, the lower limit of this class is 2 plus n by 2 is a 125 minus the cumulative frequency up to the preceding class, which is equal to 120 divided by 62 times h is equal to 1. So this is equal to 2 plus 5 by 62 is what we have. 5 by 62 is a 0.083. So you can write it as 5 by 62, which is also perfectly alright, or you can write it as 2.083. This is the median length jump by the students of this class. Second part of this question, which will get you half a mark, is interpreting the median, which essentially means that 50% of the students have jumped a distance which is less than or equal to 2.083. Half the students have jumped a distance which is less than or equal to 2.083. And another 50% of the students have jumped a distance which is greater than 2.083, right? So 50% are less than or equal to the median, 50% are more than or equal to the median. That's essentially the interpretation of the median. The distribution given below shows the runs scored by batsmen in one-day cricket matches. Find the mean runs scored by them, right? Runs are given in the range of 0 to 40, 40 to 80, all the way up to 160 to 200. And the number of batsmen who scored this frequency is given here. Let's rework this table. This is how, when we rework, it's going to be. Runs, the ranges are given. How many batsmen in each of these is given. So let's quickly find out the total number of batsmen that we have. That will give us the sigma fi, frequency in each of these class intervals, sum total of that, right? So this is 12 plus 23 is a 35, 35 plus 35 is 70, 100, 120. Total number of batsmen for whom we have data is equal to 120. Let's compute xi. Xi is the middle value, 0 to 40 is the range. So the middle value is going to be 0 plus 40 by 2, which is equal to a 20. In this case, 40 plus 80 by 2, which is going to be equal to a 60, 100, 140 and 180. We have the frequency for each of these and we have the mid value xi for each of these things. So what we'll do is we'll find out xi fi. Xi fi is equal to the product of these two, which is 240, 20 into 60, which is 1200, 3500, an easy calculation that way. This is 4200, 180 into 23, 180 into 20 is 3600 plus a 540, which is 4180 is what we have, right? So this is 540, 4140 is what we have. Let's add all of these things. First add the tens and the units. 40 plus 40, that gives us an 80, nothing to carry forward. So we have 41 plus 42. Now I'm adding the hundreds and thousands. 41 plus 42 is a 83. 83 plus 12 is a 95. 130, 132 is what we have. So sigma fi xi is equal to 13280. Sigma fi is equal to 120. The mean x bar is equal to sigma fi xi divided by sigma fi. This number is 13280. 13280. Sigma fi is equal to 120. Cancel this. 1328 divided by 12. 1320 by 12 is a 110. 110 plus an 8 by 12, which is equal to a 2 by 3, which is a 0.67. So 110.67 is the mean run scored by the 220 batsmen for whom we have data in this table. Internal and external radii of a spherical shell are 3 and 5 centimeters respectively. We are talking about a spherical shell, which essentially is a hollow sphere, right? It is melted and recast into a solid cylinder of diameter 14 centimeters. Make a note of it, it's diameter, it's not radius. Find the height of the cylinder, that's part 1. Also compute the TSA of the cylinder, given take pi to be equal to 22 by 7. The crux of solving this question is essentially when you recast one object into another, the volume of these two objects are going to be same. So essentially the volume of spherical shell is equal to the volume of the cylinder. So this is the basis for computing the first part, to compute the height of the cylinder, which is what we are going to be doing first. Once we get the height of the cylinder, then we'll compute, we already have the diameter, therefore we know the radius, we can compute the total surface area. That can be done in a jiffy. We'll do this part first. What data do we have for the spherical shell? We have its external radii, we'll call that as Re, which is equal to 5 centimeters, and we have its internal radii, let's call it as Ri, that is equal to 3 centimeters. These are only relevant data that we need. For a sphere, what do you need? You just need the radius to compute its volume, right? It's a spherical shell, so you need the external volume, internal volume. Subtract the internal hollow space volume from the external volume, you get this volume of the spherical shell. For a cylinder, what do we have? We'll have to compute the height, which is what the question is about. Radius is given. If the diameter is 14 centimeters, radius is equal to 7 centimeters. So let's equate the volume on both sides. The volume of the spherical shell is equal to 4 by 3 pi into Re cube minus Ri cube. So essentially the external volume minus the internal volume. This is equal to pi into R square into H. We are trying to find out the value of H. R is known, Re is known, Ri is known. Pi is there on both sides, so don't bother about writing it as a 22 by 7. Pi gets cancelled with pi when you divide both sides by a pi. Plug in the values, so we have a 4 by 3 into Re cube is a 5 cube minus a 3 cube. This is equal to 7 square, which is R square times H. So H is equal to bringing this 7 square down and simplifying some of these parts as we do it, which is a 4 by 3 into 5 cube is what we have, 125 minus 3 cube, which is a 27. This is equal to 49H is what we have, right? Quickly check out, yes, that's what we have. 125 minus 27 is a 98, so 4 into 98 divided by 3 times 49, get the 49 down to the denominator. This is the value of the height. 49 cancels with 98 to leave us with a 2. 4 times 2 is equal to 8. 8 by 3 centimeters is the height of this cylinder, right? We needed to find out the height of the cylinder, which is part 1, we have found it. We equated the two volumes, plugged in the values of Re, Ri and R and did the calculation to arrive at the value of H. Now step 2 is finding out the total surface area. Total surface area of a cylinder, we know the formula is equal to 2 pi R times R plus H. Do we have data for everything? Yes. Take pi to be a 22 by 7. So that's 2 times 22 by 7. R is given, which is equal to 7 centimeters plus times 7 plus 8 by 3 is the height that we computed. 7 gets cancelled with 7. That leaves us with a 44 times 3 is a common denominator. 21 plus 8 is 29 divided by 3. 44 into 29. Let's do the calculation normally itself. So this is 29 times 44. This is 36, 3, 8 plus 3, 11. So 116 is what we have, 6, 7, 2, 1. So this is equal to 1276 divided by 3. 1200 by 3 is a 400, 75 by 3 is a 25. So 425 and 1/3. So 425.33. This is surface area, so it's going to be a square of a unit. What unit? Centimeters. So 425.33 centimeters square is the total surface area of the cylinder. So this is again a very easy question. Yes, it entailed quite a few steps, and the numbers that we got as answers were not whole numbers, were not full numbers, they were fractions. To that extent, it's a little bit tedious, but not difficult in terms of a concept. Prove that the angle between the two tangents drawn from an external point, right? From an external point, we are drawing two tangents to a circle. The angle between these two tangents, we'll call it as theta, is supplementary to the angle subtended by the line segment joining the points of contact to the center. These are the points of contact. This is the center. So the angle made by this line with the center, this angle is equal to 180 minus theta is what we need to prove. We need to prove, for example, if this is AB, we need to prove APB and AOB are supplementary angles. That's what we need to prove. Quickly look at it in the next diagram, right? Is everything clear till this point? What we need to prove? We need to prove that the angle between the two tangents and the angle subtended by the line joining the place where the tangents meet the circle with the center of the circle, which is this angle, angle AOB. We need to establish that these two angles are supplementary. First thing what I marked is what we are going to say. PA is a tangent, PB is a tangent, and it's very clear that OA and OB are radius. OA is radius and OB is also radius. Therefore, the first thing that we are going to establish is that PA is perpendicular to OA and PB is perpendicular to OB. So these two angles, you mark them as 90 degrees, that is done. Next, look at it. What is PAOB? PAOB is a quadrilateral. So in a quadrilateral, sum of the interior angles is equal to 360 degrees. So angle APB plus angle PAO plus angle PBO, right, this angle, plus angle AOB. The sum of these four angles is equal to 360 degrees, right. Actually, I should have written AOB and then PBO when it comes in a cyclic order. We'll fill in the values properly, right. Angle APB is, we'll retain it as APB, right. Angle PAO is equal to 90 degrees plus angle AOB plus angle OBP, which is also equal to 90 degrees. This sum is equal to 360 degrees. 90 plus 90 is 180. Take it to the right hand side. That will leave us with angle APB plus angle AOB to be equal to 180 degrees. If sum of these two angles is equal to 180 degrees, these two angles are supplementary angles, right? So proved it. Property that we used is basically that the angle between the tangent and the radius is a right angle. Second one, sum of the interior angles of a quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees. This question, as I mentioned, has an internal choice. This is the option that we have as a second option, right? Two tangents TP and TQ are drawn to a circle with center O from an external point T. So let's quickly, this is point T, circle that we have here. TP and TQ are the two tangents we have drawn. Prove that PTQ, this angle, is equal to 2 times angle OPQ. Center of the circle is here O, right? PQ, let's join this angle OPQ. If we call it as theta, we need to prove that PTQ is equal to 2 theta. This is what we'll have to prove. So about doing it, it's a 3-step process. This is a diagram that we have, right? First and foremost, we know that TP is equal to TQ, right? TP is equal to TQ. From an external point, you draw two tangents. Both these tangents are equal in length, right? We said that this angle is equal to 2 theta. So if TP is equal to TQ, in triangle PTQ, we can quickly say that angle TPQ is equal to angle TQP. These two angles are equal. We'll just give it a name for the moment to help us navigate through this. We'll say this is equal to an alpha. So in triangle PTQ, sum of the three interior angles is equal to 180 degrees, which is angle PTQ plus angle TPQ plus angle TQP, right? 1, 2, 3, right? All of these three angles, right? Angle TQP, angle TPQ and angle PTQ is equal to 180 degrees. PTQ is equal to 2 theta. Each of TPQ and TQP are alpha each. So alpha plus alpha is equal to 180 degrees. 2 alpha is equal to 180 degrees minus 2 theta. Divide the entire equation by a 2. So it will leave us with alpha is equal to 90 minus theta. So henceforth we will not write it as an alpha, we will just replace it with a 90 minus theta. That's what we have. Both these angles are 90 minus theta. What do we have to find out? We need to find out this angle. What do we know? This is 2 theta. And we also know this component, this angle TPQ. Angle TPQ is equal to this angle TPQ is equal to 90 minus theta. I am not writing it there because I don't want to add any more confusion, right? Now look at it, TP is a tangent and OP is a radius. So TP is perpendicular to OP is established. This angle is equal to 90 degrees. This entire angle is the sum of OPQ and QPT, right? The sum of those two angles. So we can say that angle OPT, which is equal to 90 degrees. This 90 degrees is actually sum of two angles. One is angle OPQ and the second one is angle TPQ, this angle TPQ. What did we find TPQ to be? We found TPQ to be equal to 90 minus theta. So 90 is equal to angle OPQ plus 90 minus theta. Take both these terms to the left hand side, 90 gets cancelled with 90, which translates to OPQ is equal to theta, right? This minus theta goes to the left hand side, becomes theta. So establish OPQ is equal to theta. We know PTQ is equal to 2 theta. That's the initial assumption or assignment that we did. So what have we established? OPQ is equal to 2 theta. Theta, which is 2 times theta, is equal to 2 theta. We have proved that. quickly get started. This is random data, general data. Read it for fun's sake, not important for the solving the question. Look at this. This is where the information starts. A guard stationed at the top of a 240-meter tower, right? Again, let's quickly draw as we, this is a 240-meter tower. The guard is stationed on top of it. Observed an unidentified boat coming towards it. The boat is somewhere here, unidentified boat. He is seeing the boat moving towards this tower. A clinometer or inclinometer is an instrument used for measuring angles. The guard used the clinometer to measure the angle of depression to be equal to 30 degrees. So this angle that he has measured is equal to 30 degrees is what we have. So this is the data we have. Height of the tower is 240 meters. The angle of depression of this boat from the tower is equal to 30 degrees, right? We have to find out two things. First one, find out the distance of the boat from the foot of the observation tower when the angle of depression is 30 degrees. Second part, after 10 minutes, he finds that the boat was approaching the tower and its distance from the tower is reduced by 240 into root 3 minus 1. It's closer, right? When he observed initially, it was here. This is where the angle of depression was equal to 30 degrees. 10 minutes later, he's finding it closer to the tower. It's moved in this direction. How much closer? It's traveled a distance of 240 into root 3 minus 1 meters. At this point, right, the question is now asking us to find out the angle of depression at this point, right? So we know what the questions are asking us to do. Quickly, let's draw these diagrams properly in a printed form, solve questions starting from part 1, right? So this is they've given us an image of a lighthouse and a tower, observation tower, right? So we're looking at first part. This is when he's first observing this boat. The angle of depression is equal to 30 degrees. Height of the tower is equal to 240. What we need to find out is how far is the boat from the foot of the tower. BC is what we are trying to find out. We know that angle of depression is equal to angle of elevation. So angle ACB is going to be equal to 30 degrees. So I'm going to look at right triangle ABC. In right triangle ABC to angle ACB, which is angle 30 degrees, AB is the opposite side and BC, which we are trying to find out, is the adjacent side. Opposite side value is known to us, angle is known to us. So let's use the trigonometric ratio that combines these two, which is tan. So tan of angle ACB, which is tan 30 degrees, is equal to AB, which is 240, divided by BC, which is what we are trying to find out. So 1 upon root 3 is the value of tan 30 is equal to 240 divided by BC. Cross multiply both these terms. So what we have is BC is equal to 240 root 3 meters. So when he is observing for the first time, the boat is 240 root 3 meters away from the foot of the tower. Part 1 is done. Let's move on to part 2. Now the boat has moved closer. We have computed BC to be equal to 240 root 3 meters. Part 1. Let's say when he is observing it after 10 minutes, the boat is at point D. How much closer has it moved? The distance it has traveled in this duration is 240 times root 3 minus 1. So now at this point, can we find out how far is the boat from the base of the tower? Yes, we can find out. When he is looking at it the second time, right? BD is nothing but BC minus CD, the distance it has traveled. BC minus CD. BC is equal to 240 root 3 and CD is equal to 240 into root 3 minus 1. 240 root 3 minus 240 root 3 will get cancelled. Minus of minus 240 is what we'll be left with, which is equal to 240 meters. So we found out BD to be equal to 240 meters. Now we know AB, we know BD, this is a right triangle. So we can obviously find out the measure of angle ADB. Is that what we are interested in? No, we are interested in finding out the angle of depression. The angle of depression, what do we have to find out is basically angle. We'll take this to be equal to, let's say, an ABCDE will take, right? We are interested in angle EAD. Angle EAD is what we are trying to find out, which is your angle of depression when the boat is at point D. Now the angle of depression is equal to angle of elevation. So EAD, angle EAD, obviously is going to be the same as the angle of elevation at this point, which is going to be equal to angle ADB. Angle ADB, we have found out what we are trying to find out. To angle ADB, we'll call it as theta. Opposite side is AB. To angle, we'll give these names. Right, this is what we are trying to find out, theta. Right, to angle, this is, sorry, D. to angle ADB. AB is the opposite side and BD is the adjacent side. So obviously we are going to be using tan. We found out BD, if you look at it, in this case to be equal to a 240. So let's not clutter this diagram. So this is 240, this is 240. So tan of angle ADB is equal to AB, the opposite side, divided by BD, the adjacent side, which is 240 divided by 240, which is equal to 1. Tan of some angle is equal to 1. What is the measure of the angle? We know tan 45 is equal to 1. Therefore, it's quite evident that angle ADB is equal to 45 degrees. And therefore, angle EAD, which is what we are trying to find out, the angle of depression, that is also equal to 45 degrees. So computed the answer to both parts. First, what is the measure of the distance when he first observed the boat? Second, we know the boat has traveled 240 times root 3 minus 1. At that point, what is the angle of depression is what we needed to find out. So 240 root 3 is the initial distance. 45 degrees is the second angle of depression. This is a lot of information, just fun reading. Read it at your time. Not going to help us with solving this question. Here is something to tell you how basically one should do push-ups. Right. Let's get started with a question. This is where actually the question starts. Nitesh wants to participate in the push-up challenge. He can currently make 3000 push-ups in 1 hour. That's a lot for an hour. But he wants to achieve a target of 3900 push-ups in 1 hour, for which he practices regularly. He's right now doing 3000 push-ups in an hour. He wants to take it up to 3900 each hour. With each day of practice, he is able to make 5 more push-ups in an hour as compared to the previous day. If on the first day of practice, he makes 3000 push-ups and continues to practice regularly till his target is achieved, we need to solve the 2 questions that are asked subsequently. So quickly, day 1, the number of push-ups he does, we'll call it as A, is equal to 3000. Day 2, we'll call it as A2. The number of push-ups he'll be able to do is equal to 3005. It's 5 more than that. Day 3 is going to be equal to 3010 and so on and so forth. So each day, the count of push-ups is increasing by a 5, which means it's in an arithmetic progression with a common difference of 5. So this much is established here. Starting with 3000, we need to reach a target of 3900. Let's look at what these 2 questions are. Keeping the above situation in mind, answer the following questions. Form an AP representing the number of push-ups per day, right? If on the 5th day, how many push-ups will you do? A5 is the answer. On the 21st day, how many push-ups will you do? That's A21. So we need to frame an AP to signify the number of push-ups done on any given day. So we need to find out an AP for representing AN, where N is an nth day that we are talking about. And hence, find the minimum number of days he needs to practice before the day his goal is accomplished. His goal is to reach 3900. So how many days, what is the value of N to reach the target 3900? That's the second part of this question. Second question itself within this, find the total number of push-ups performed by Nitesh up to the day his goal is achieved. The first day was 3000, next day is 3005. So till you keep adding all of these things till he reaches 3900. How many total push-ups has he done is what the question is, right? Let's get started. Let's start with the first part. Represent it as an arithmetic progression. So nth day, the number of push-ups he'll do. An, we'll write the first formula, A plus N minus 1 times the common difference. But we know A is equal to a 3000. That's a place where he starts. Plus N minus 1 times the common difference, which is equal to 5, because each day is increasing the count by a 5. So first question, part 1, we'll have to express it in form of an AP to represent the number of push-ups done on any given day. So nth day, the number of push-ups he does is AN. That's equal to the push-ups done on the first day, 3000, plus N minus 1 times the common difference, which is equal to 5. The second part to it, which is to find out what is the value of N so that he reaches 3900. So AN equals 3900. N equals what is part 2. Plug in that information here. 3900 is equal to 3000 plus N minus 1 times 5. 3000 goes to the left hand side, makes it as 900 is equal to N minus 1 times 5. Divide both sides of this equation by a 5. So left hand side will become 180 is equal to N minus 1, or N is equal to 181. On the 181st day, he would have reached his target of 3900, right? So part 1 is this and part 2 is this. So you do these two things, you got marks for the part 1 of this question, right? Let's look at the second one. Find the total number of push-ups performed by Nitesh to the day his goal is achieved, right? We know A is equal to 3,000. Day 1, how many push-ups he does? Common difference is equal to 5. He reaches his target on the 181st day. The question is to find out sum of all the push-ups he has done from day 1 all the way up to 181st day. So Sn, formula will write it, which is n by 2 times 2a plus n minus 1 times the common difference. Do we have values for all of this? N is equal to 181, A is equal to 3000, D is equal to 5. Plug in, we'll get the answer. So yes, 181 is what we are trying to find out, which is 181 divided by 2 into 2 times 3000 plus 181 minus 1 is a 180. Common difference is equal to a 5. So this is 181 divided by 2 into 6000. 2 into 3000 is a 6000 plus 900, which is 6900. Cancels out to leave us with a 3450. 181 into 3450 is equal to 6,24,450. This is the total number of push-ups that Nitesh did from day 1 all the way up to day 181, the day he reached his target.
Before you leave, I want you to do two things. One, sign up at online.maxtute.com to get started with CBSE Class 10 Math online tuitions. It takes all of 5 minutes and less than 3 steps to get started. And second thing, I want you to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so that you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. Spread the word about this channel to your friends and classmates.